Assalamu alaikum, my name's Rahma and this is my Ramadan bite. So I still remember some of the hymns that we used to sing in assembly in primary school, and whenever I'm reminiscing of that very carefree time and singing them to myself, I realise 16 or 17 years later that many of them have a really profound meaning that escaped my little 5-year-old mind. One of my favourite hymns was called When I Needed a Neighbour. I'm sure most of you know it, and the song proceeds to go, when I needed a neighbour, were you there? On the creed and the colour and the name won't matter, were you there? And the hymn is a metaphor for looking out for someone when they're hungry and thirsty, when they're cold and vulnerable, when they need healing and shelter, as the song states. And the word neighbour was used to describe the dependable and caring person that's there for them in that time of need. However, most of us would think as a neighbour as the person or the people that live next door to us or in our community. If I think about it, I wouldn't see my neighbour being the person who protects me and feeds me, and I don't think they would look to me for that either. In fact, most of us don't know our neighbours and we don't know their names, and we don't interact with them, especially if they're different from us, be that in religion or colour or even age. We box ourselves off in the protection of our own homes. At the moment, the world is going through a really tough time. Things are really uncertain, and I'm socially distancing, like I'm sure most of you are, and I haven't been outside much at all. Despite the fact that we are all isolated in our houses, this uncertain time seems to have brought us as neighbours closer together than we ever have been. My mother is a GP, and due to the vast shortage of PPE and protective equipment, she wrote a message on our WhatsApp group asking if anyone had anything in their houses. Although this was not their responsibility, different members of the neighbourhood did what they could. One family brought her scrubs back from their workplace. One family gave her a really high quality visor and they ordered more on the way. One lady gave her bags to keep her scrubs in and wash them in, and she was inundated with kind messages of support from all of our neighbours. A doctor on our road left her oxygen saturation monitor outside. Should anyone feel out of breath, they could use that at any point. And this is actually a really important reading for doctors' knowledge and helps with the speed of process if they call 111 or their GP. At 8 o'clock on Thursdays, when we open our doors and clap, we hear the resounding sound coming from every house on our road. There's much politics surrounding the clap. I know lots of people question whether it's masking the way the NHS has been handled and is being handled by the government, but nevertheless it's a sign, and we all stand in thanks and in gratitude, in solidarity and defiance, and we all stand connected. We have elderly people living locally to us, people who have no family and no carers, and they're too scared to venture outside. A few people send them food, do their shopping and check they're okay, and that just makes me wonder how many more people are out there struggling and have no one nearby to help them. The Prophet ﷺ is thought to have said that our neighbours are those who are up to 40 houses in all directions. The Quran states, serve God and do good to parents, kinsfolk and to orphans, to those in need, and neighbours who are near, and neighbours who are strangers. A Sahih hadith states that the Prophet said, he is not a believer who eats his fill whilst his neighbour is hungry. And another hadith from Bukhari states that he is not a believer whose neighbour does not feel safe from evil. These hadith are to name just a couple out of a multitude. If you're blessed enough to have food on your table and to be surrounded by family at this time, maybe take some time to think about if you know anyone elderly, anyone sick, anyone alone, or anyone who could be struggling local to you, and check they're okay. We're all facing this uncertain time ahead, and it's easier if we do it in solidarity with each other.